Hello, I'm Dr. Brandt Gibson, and tonight, although it's very late, I would like to talk to you about the nucleus of the neuron or the nerve cell. So as you remember, the neuron is the nerve cell, and it's made up of a cell body, and it has dendrites coming in and an axon going off. But the cell body is where a majority of the functioning of the nerve happens, a majority of the decision-making and so forth to help the cell know what's going on. And one of the main organelles inside the cell body of the neuron is a nucleus. And a nucleus actually is the archival location and the basically brain, for lack of a better way of saying, the brain of the nerve cell. And what it has all the DNA, all the chromosomes that's broken up into DNA that contains the history of the cell, as well as all the necessary information to produce all the proteins and hormones and so forth that need to be produced by the cell. And so what happens is the RNA will be created from the DNA. So the DNA will be read and create an RNA, and the RNA will be read to create the proteins and hormones and neurotransmitters and so forth of the cell. And so what happens in peripheral neuropathy is you'll actually get reactive oxygen substances or glucosylation, which is sugar coating of the cell body, which will interfere or damage the cell body and ultimately can damage the nucleus itself and interfere with the ability of the nucleus to produce the necessary hormones, proteins, and other information that is necessary for that cell to function. So because of the reactive oxygen substances, which can happen because of toxic medications, can happen because of environmental influences, can happen because of heavy metals, can happen because of failure of the mitochondria. I mean, all of those situations can actually cause reactive oxygen substances to damage the cell nucleus and then the cell body and cause it not to function correctly. If you have insufficient nutrients, then the cell doesn't have the necessary information or the necessary enzymes to produce and read the DNA and produce the proteins, produce the necessary information. So if you don't have the nutrients you need, the cell's not going to function right, the nucleus is not going to function right, and it won't produce what it needs to as well. So any of those situations, whether it's the reactive oxygen substances, whether it's lack of circulation, whether it's lack of nutrition, whether it's glycosylation or sugar coating of the cell and the cell nucleus, all of those can actually cause the nucleus to fail to function, which will cause the cell body to fail to function, which will cause information that is being passed through the nerves to fail to be propagated. And because of that, you'll actually have either a slowing of the signal, absence of the signal, or an erroneous signal, incorrect signal. And because of that, it just doesn't work. And so you get peripheral neuropathy. So it is very important that the nucleus is functioning right in a nerve cell. This is Dr. Brandt Gibson, and this is your Neuropathy Nugget, day 131.